So I get asked sometimes about the security clearance process to work in an intelligence agency, so I thought I'd do a video on it. Now, I've only ever worked for one intelligence agency, that was Canada's Foreign Signals Intelligence Agency, and it's almost 20 years ago I went through this process, so my information is obviously a little bit dated. However, I think some of the fundamentals are the same because the process is designed to weed out people who are ultimately going to compromise national security, right? That's what they're looking for. People who have questionable alliances, yes, but also like psychopaths, right? People who don't take it seriously or people who are bribable. So, and the fundamentals of human nature haven't really changed in 20 years. So, I think a lot of this is still relevant. Now, the first step in the process was the security interview. It's more like an interrogation, not going to lie. It's very, very harrowing. At first, kind of this good copy vibe, I just want to get to know you, but that doesn't it the bad cop comes out pretty quick, and it's like not only do they want to know the facts about who you are and your history, but they also want to learn about you, and so they push your buttons, or they try to figure out what your buttons are and how they can be pushed. And it's hours long, and it's absolutely draining. So you make it through that, and then the next step, not the same day, but this all happens, like, let's say over the course of maybe a week or two, is the psychological assessment. So that's a test. So I did the test, and I obviously raised a few maybe yellow flags because I got sent to meet with the psychologist. And again, this is not like going to your therapist. These people are not on your side. Like, they want to figure out what makes you tick and why you say the things you do and what the thought processes are behind it, so they can decide if you're a good fit to work in intelligence or if you are a national security risk, which is clearly what they don't want. And then the last step of this was the polygraph. I think polygraphs are portrayed erroneously in a lot of situations. And again, like, the technology does evolve, but it's just a short series of yes or no questions. And they start easy, get that baseline, how do you react? But they do push your buttons as they're going through it to get that assessment of your emotional reactions that they can measure, right? So, like, for example, they'll say, once they get through the preliminaries, the basics, it's like, have you ever committed a crime? I'm like, no, I haven't committed a crime. They're like, are you sure? And so I'm like, oh my God, there's that pack of gum I stole back in grade 5. So I'm like, I stole a pack of gum in grade 5. Like, is that going to get me kicked out of the process? And so they say, okay, so then the polygraph goes on. It's like, okay, with the exception of that pack of gum that you stole in grade 5, have you ever committed a crime? You're like, no, I haven't committed a crime. I'm like, well, do you speed? Do you ever break the speed limit? I'm like, every single day. And so that's how they do it, right? They're like, oh, that's a crime. And so they kind of get you to sort of break apart all these elements of your life that you probably have never thought about and never thought about how you constructed them. And yeah, I came out of those three processes, and I was convinced I was a terrible person and had made terrible life choices and didn't deserve to be living. Now, that didn't last for very long, especially because I got in, so it kind of validated that I wasn't completely awful. But that process, that security process, is designed to strip you down a little, right, and get you into your vulnerabilities and see what makes you tick in order to try to verify and prevent national security consequences down the road. So that's the security clearance process, at least to the best of my memory. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Otherwise, as usual, I hope everyone is doing wonderful.